You're listening to the KATcast, a weekly podcast from the staff you love to listen to each weekday on 94.3 Cat Country. Killian Hart and Jordan J. Now, here they are, talking about life, love, and everything mid-Missouri.
Holy cow, can you believe it? School is starting.
Yep.
It is the beginning of school for so many kids. And that's what we're talking about today, back to school, you know? So we all have our own memories of starting a new school year.
I was one of those weird kids. I actually enjoyed going with my mom back to school shopping.
Back to school shopping.
That is,
Yes.
for a lot of kids, that's probably the highlight. I mean, it's not so much the school. It's like all the stuff you get, all the cool clothes on you
Well,
get.
first off, picking out like pencils and new markers and folders, trapper keepers. That was my jam. Yeah, I loved stuff like that. Brand new, bright pink eraser.
There's something about it's new and fresh, and that's
you just kind of
true.
feel like, oh man, it's going to happen for me this year. It's going to be great.
See, I never enjoyed school shopping. I never did. And the reason why is because I enjoyed my freedom of not being in school. I enjoed summer vacation
you like
too
sleeping
much.
Till 9 or 10 o'clock every
Well,
morning.
I like sleeping until noon every day. I like that.
We didn't have that option.
I will tell you,
Neither did I.
I've confessed before that I was a very average, I dare say below average student in school. I mean, I just skated by.
Look at you now.
It's amazing that I even got accepted into college, okay? But here's the thing. I started off each year with the best of intentions. I really did. I would be like, okay, this is the year. I'm going to study. I'm going to buckle that. This is going to be the year. This is going to be it. And that lasted usually maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And then I was back to my normal, I don't want to do this anymore.
Really?
Yeah. See, I went to school.
2-3 weeks.
I socialized for a lot. Like that was what I was at school for.
Yeah, that's what I was majoring in.
Yeah,
Majoring
exactly.
in social.
Yeah, every time we'd have like a parent-teacher conference or whatever, that's what. Yeah, that's the teachers like. They're like, well, he definitely enjoys
People
socializing, and it's like, oh, great, here come the grades now.
I have shared it was either kindergarten or first grade report card, and it was everything was like pretty much stellar marks, plus. The only negative on there was that Kevin tends to talk too much.
Yeah.
Or talks out of place.
Yeah, I got talked too much. Yeah.
I got that too.
Yeah.
I'm glad. So look at
we were destined to go on the radio.
We were destined. Look at this,
It was written in the stars, man.
Be like, talks too much. I got the perfect job for you.
Oh, if Mrs. Zuber, my kindergarten teacher, if she could see Mrs. Zuber, look at me.
I made it.
Do you think Mrs. Zuber's still around?
No, Mrs. Zuber, I'm sure, has been dust for many years. I mean, I'm just like, probably Mrs. Zuber's kids are dust by now, quite honestly. But, no, I mean, and again, once you get into the routine of school, it got a little bit easier, I guess, because, and that's the thing, as Jordan alluded to, you're breaking up your routine. You've had a whole summer. Although, again, here in the Midwest, this is another thing, though, that was like new to me. Kids starting school in August.
See, we didn't. When I was a kid, we didn't start in August.
When did that start?
I don't know.
See, all I've
it was
known
always
is
after
August.
Labor
It's
Day.
always been for you.
Labor Day was like the last hurrah.
That was it. Exactly.
And then like we started
September
I think, like,
6th, 7th,
Tuesday
whatever.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and I don't have kids, so it's not something that I've been like, oh, well, I can tell you with accuracy that it was.
You started school in September?
Yeah.
Well, Jordan is our
And got out at
barometer
the end of May.
Yeah.
because he remembers it's always been for him.
For as long as I could,
So,
like forever, I think it's been August.
It had to start sometime in the 90s.
It had to have. It had to.
You know? I don't know. To me,
I mean, I graduated in '96.
Yeah.
So if that helps you in any context,
it really doesn't. But thank you for your contribution.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
You're just being helping McHelperson.
I graduated in '96. I'm like, oh God, I
was
I
like
might
3
have,
years old or whatever.
I think I just started school in '96. I think I started preschool in '96.
Man, I was working a highly successful top 40 radio show in New Hampshire. I mean, come on, man. But anyway, we digress. So, but that is actually one of the good things we bring to this podcast. We have like 3 different generations.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it's an opportunity for all of you to learn from me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're learning so much.
I was waiting for her.
Learn what not to do.
Exactly.
So what?
Do as I say.
Because you're a baby boomer.
Not as I do. Right, exactly.
I'm Generation X.
Yes.
I'm a millennial.
Yes.
Yeah. Because you all forget all the time.
Yeah, I know. I never remember
like,
that.
Is he a millennial or is he a Gen Z?
We have conversations on the air whenever we reference you. And Jordan was he millennial? Or I don't remember.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
are you an X, Y, or Z?
Well, how come? Is there a Generation Y?
Yeah, it's a millennial.
Why don't they call it Generation Y?
The terms are interchangeable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Gen Y is a millennial.
Really?
Yeah. I think it became.
How come you got two fancy names?
I don't know. I'm not the one that gave us the name.
I think it started off as Gen Y.
I think it did.
And then they changed it to millennial. So,
because then after that is
name.
Z, and then whatever we're on now, Alpha or whatever the heck.
I don't even know what I mean. Like,
I think Alpha. I think it's called Generation Alpha.
Because everybody has to have a like a cool name now.
Pretty much every time.
But anyway,
is there a school subject that you hated the most?
I will. Okay, may I attack this one first?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm telling you, and it's still this way. Math.
Yeah.
I was not. I never took algebra, trig. Any of those. I never took them. I don't know why. I'm a product of the New Jersey public educational system. They never required it of me. Mm-hmm. And I paid the price for that once I got to college because I had to take Dummkopf math when I got there. I had to take remedial math in my freshman year in college just to get somewhat up to speed with all the kids who had chosen wisely in high school and taken all that. So for me, it was math, somewhat science, but mostly math. I loved the social sciences. I liked history. I liked English words. I liked all that. But the math, man, forget it. It was just never a thing for me.
I was awful at math too. In fact, I was the kid that would think that she invented a new way to do the math whenever she got home. Because I took.
Let me show you something I found.
I took such lousy notes, and then I'd get home and I'd be like, how are we supposed to do this again? And so I would come up with some convoluted way, and my teacher would be like, what did you do?
Did you come up with the right answer?
What did you? No.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say.
It's just that she'd be like, I don't understand how you got this. And I'm like.
Because isn't the idea of math now not to get the right answer, but to feel good about how you got it? Isn't that what they teach them now?
No, I think it's still to get the right answer.
I don't know. I mean, I've heard stories.
Math is technically the language of the universe, right? Everything can be explained away. But I'm with y'all. I don't like math. Math is my least favorite subject. I was terrible.
The language of the universe. I don't see Saturn doing long equations or long
Have you talked to Saturn?
Yes, I have, actually. I've spoken to Uranus.
My second worst subject was creative writing.
Really?
I got reamed for creative writing. Apparently
so you're pretty good at that now.
But I wasn't. They didn't think I was good at it then, and that's why I find it so ironic every time they're like, "Oh, write a blog, write this, write that," and I'm just like, "Do you know what you're?"
Can you imagine if ChatGPT had been around then?
If Mrs. Thompson was listening, she'd be like, "No, do not let this girl write anything because it's awful."
She has no place writing anything.
That's right.
See, I loved English. That was my favorite subject.
Of course it was.
I love the English, but not so much like the grammar, like you know what I mean? Not that kind of English.
Yeah, where you had to put those things like the.
I guess I should rephrase it.
Where you put a word and then you have to. It's like almost like a math formula. Where you have to put them together.
Yeah,
what's it called? Word. You know what I'm talking about? Sentence. Somebody's
compounds. Is that what you're talking
sentence
about?
Compound. I don't know, but you mean where you have to put them together. Here's the predicate. Here's the
there's a compound sentence. Like all that kind of stuff.
All that
you're talking about. Yeah. No. Yeah. I see. I liked literature. I guess I should like rephrase. I liked English, but like more so like. That was what we called it. We call it English.
But you like literature.
But it was like the literature side.
Hey, Aaron.
Yes, we fancy.
You like
however,
literature.
hey, I did take world novels.
Ooh.
Well, you love reading. Look at you.
Okay, but that's just it. That's what I thought. I thought we were just going to sit around and they'd give us a list of books to read and it was going to be great. I was just going to get to read all day, right? Well, no. Apparently, we had to break down what the symbolism of this was, the symbolism of that. And it's like, I just wanted to read. I just wanted to read stories. Good. Do we have to make it?
You're like, do you have any Stephen King?
Well, I already read those by now.
Yes.
But yeah, it was like things like Siddhartha and Siddhartha. Frankenstein, I think, was in there.
Mary Shelley, yes.
There was quite a few other ones in there. But yeah, I just wanted to read stories. I didn't want to.
I don't want to talk about them. I
didn't want to
write
get
about
all
them.
in depth. And
when I was in high school, they offered like a mythology class, and it was
that would be cool.
Yeah, we got to read like a whole bunch of like cool books and like like watch like different kinds of like documentaries and stuff. It was really cool.
I do remember taking a class in high school. It was mythology and that sort of thing, and that was pretty interesting. That was fun stuff, and that was long before like the Marvel universe or that, so superheroes.
I also I loved art class, but it's terrible at it. I was terrible, because like if you wanted me to draw anything realistically, it wasn't happening. Now, if it was like weird, lots of bright colors and abstract, I was your girl. But if you wanted me to actually like, draw Kevin or draw this banana in a fruit bowl or whatever, it was not happening.
I took an art class and we got like those little sketchbooks. Yeah. And one of the assignments, and I totally forgot about it at the time, was I had to do a portrait. So I had to draw someone's portrait, right? That's what we were tasked with doing over the weekend.
Yes.
Well, I had other plans over the weekend, like hang out with friends and do other things.
I ain't got time for this tomfoolery.
Yeah, I got time for that. So I didn't do it. And then I went the next day and I'm like, oh my gosh, we had that. So I then spent the next 15 minutes doing my portrait real fast.
Hey.
Wow.
And then showed it to Mr. Nichols at the time, was the art teacher.
What did Mr. Nichols think?
Come
on, tell me. We all want to know.
I want you to know, right? Everyone else had these really decent portraits. I was like, he goes, who's that? I'm like, it's my uncle. And it's like, but nah, dude, it was like,
he made up somebody.
It was like a step above a stick figure. Like it was terrible.
See, if we submitted something like that, we had to submit a picture to go with.
Yeah,
to show
to
that there was some sort of
comparative
similarity.
Purpose.
I didn't really do that. I
noticed the picture has
But
hair,
clearly it was like, oh yeah, this cartoon character is your uncle? Yes.
But when it came to art, whether it was like painting or whatever, or a sculpture, or whatever, it doesn't matter. If you brought it home, it didn't matter if it was the biggest, ugliest piece of crap. Your parents were always like, oh, that is so
it's good. So good.
There's stuff I made in ceramics
you.
Class that my mom still has displayed. It's not good. None of it's good.
My kids brought it. We have ashtrays.
I think that's the point, right?
But we have ashtrays. We have decorations that all three of our kids made. I mean, and they're all the same homogeneous blob of something,
I do
poorly painted.
I do have one thing that was kind of neat at the time. We had to do a color wheel, and mine, I made a spider web and made it into a color wheel. And my mom was so thrilled with that, she had it framed.
Oh wow! I did. I remember like in pottery class growing up, we had like a pottering segment where like I made like a little jar for my mom with like a lid, and she used it to like put her jewelry in and stuff like that on the side table. But it looked like a.
I'm picturing the scene with Demi Moore, and there's Jordan.
That's kind of what it was like.
Oh my love!
See, I was too scared of the pottery wheel. I avoided that at all costs.
It's Patrick Swayze with Jordan. Look,
but let me tell you, it looked like a pot that had like sat too long in the sun and it melted. But my mom's like, it's beautiful.
It's always beautiful. It doesn't matter. In her mind, she's thinking, what the heck am I supposed to do with this?
Like, this sucks.
Right. It's beautiful, Jordan. I'm going to keep it forever. I'm going to put it way up on top of this shelf where nobody can bother it.
I always like that, though. I thought the best part of school was like when you got to middle school and you transition from being in grade school to like you're kind of in like the upper level of school where you get to kind of start to pick your own classes, and that's fun.
To me, that made a feeling
school,
of independence.
That made school significantly more fun.
I'm charting my course now.
Yeah,
even though if you wanted to drop one of those classes, you had to get a parent.
I know approval. I know. Yeah. What's my parents taking the class?
Like when I took French, big mistake. That was a huge one. And
you always get stuck with something too, especially if the class has a limited number and if you got yours in later, all the kids took like the most popular classes. Mm-hmm. So you want to see. Oh, I wanted to take that class on I don't know, Mystic Heroes or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, everybody's here, we do have an algebra class. No! No!
Yeah. Oh, this nice, fun, awesome class that's an easy A? Yeah, that's filled up. You got to take this one.
That's filled up in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah. Well, and like, I used to love PE as a kid. Where I lost my love of PE was junior high and middle school, and they made a shower afterwards.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like,
Oh.
man, I don't
You
wanna
mean
do
you didn't
that.
like showering with the other girls? Was that the
Of course
idea?
not. You
All right.
know, I mean, who wants to? You're a kid. You're all embarrassed. You know, you don't want to do any of that.
It's not
I
much
just
more
wanted to
fun
play
in the boys'
kickball.
locker room. I mean, it's
You know, we just want to play
people
kickball.
stealing your towels.
Yeah, and basketball, and you know,
or your clothes are gone. You're like,
we
come
didn't
on.
care if we were sweaty messes the rest of the day. We didn't care.
I'll tell you my big thing with gym, and I know it's hard to believe that this muscular athletic body wasn't always this way, but when I was in school, I was the scrawny little kid, and when dodgeball day would come up, guess who they like to throw the ball at?
Target.
I was out in the first 30 seconds of the game. I'm gone. And you know what? I was happy to be out. I'm gone. I don't want any
It's
part
all of a
of
sudden
this.
like it's actually hidden talent of Kevin. He's like the Matrix, like Neo. He's like catching all the balls, throwing a bag at it.
Oh, that would have been handy.
So we loved
He's
dodgeball,
starting to believe.
But we also had, in grade school, one of the things we had to bring was an old pair of pantyhose. And here's why. You would cut the legs off the pantyhose and they would fill them with dried beans. It was bopper tag. We would whap each other with this.
This sounds dangerous. They fill them with
gym
what?
class with dried beans.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
You probably still have the welts.
Oh my gosh, it was the best game ever. We loved it. Yeah, I'm
They
pretty
play,
sure.
they play that in Colombian prisons, you
I
know.
know.
I was going to say,
Don't
like
anymore.
prison when they stuff soap in the sock.
It was we didn't do any of that. We didn't do any of that. But no, it was dried beans and an old pair of pantyhose. It was the funnest game
Aaron's
ever.
waiting for a helicopter to pick her up in on the
used
yard.
To beg. We used to beg to play that. That, and we also had like scooters. So sometimes we get like, you know, the scooters
prison
and the
tag.
boppers. So you had to watch your fingers, make sure that you didn't run over your own fingers or somebody else ran
Aaron
over your
goes
fingers.
to prison and it's like the time of her life.
I remember this.
Let's play bean tag.
Oh, I can do this. I know how to do this.
It wasn't bean.
Oh, wait a minute. I have to shower?
It was bopper tag. Get it straight.
She's going to be like, nobody told me we had to shower, too. Okay.
Yeah.
That ruins
Exactly.
everything.
Yeah, it's like gym class all over again.
You're like, it's just like school.
That's right.
Oh, my
But there,
God.
there was no kid who was like, "Yay, we get to shower after gym class." Not one.
No, not a
one.
single one.
Yeah.
You're like, yay, that sounds great.
Yeah, woohoo!
Yeah, there's a lot I could talk about on this topic, but I won't.
That's probably a good thing.
Because
I had because of PE, we had like different variations of PE. So we had like the PE that like you had to just take, and then you could also take advanced PE, which was like weightlifting and stuff like that.
Whoa.
Which, like train like
Yeah.
kind of that kind of stuff, CrossFit, other kind of cool things. Or you could go and do Lifetime Sports. And Lifetime Sports was like kickball, badminton, ping pong, like all that kind of stuff. So
we
it was
had
great.
like an archery section in ours. We did square dancing because that's come up a lot. Phew, I've not once been in a meeting where HR is like, "Aaron, can you explain yourself?" I can't be a square dance. Watch this. Yeah, There's never been a situation.
our gym class, we did have like a softball team. Like we actually, it was
Fun.
like intramural. I guess you call it intramural.
Yeah.
sports.
Oh, yeah.
And we actually won one year the softball, quote unquote, championship.
Yeah.
That was like our big claim to fame, you know. So even in the yearbook, people were like, "Hey, remember our winning softball team?" Oh, yeah. Okay.
We played kickball and it was intramural, you know.
Right.
But the girls hated it because us boys, like, we didn't hold back. So, like, you know, so we'd sit there, we'd be kicking it as hard as we could, or like all of a sudden, one of the chicks is like trying to make it to second base, and we'll sit there, like just
Those girls needed Aaron, who was already 5'11" at that point. You know, it's like Aaron's like, "Let me take care of them girls."
Ball just comes skyrocketing, hits her in the head, and then
Let me
they're
take
like,
care of your lightweight there, girl. Yeah.
Well, back to school is loaded with memories. So
Oh, yeah.
if you got a fun memory of back to school or a not so fun
That
memory,
too.
maybe you played prison tag too. Who knows?
It was bopper tag.
I'm picturing something in Mad Max. You
Just
know?
for that, I'm gonna make some, and I'm gonna bring it, and we're gonna play.
Here we go. I'll finish it. I'll finish it off
Yes,
on a high
yes.
note here. So there was one time, and it was in high school. I was I had to go all the way across the building. Like we got like 4 or 5 minutes from the bell to like get to class. Well, I had to stop off at my locker, get my stuff. Anyway, I was running late. I knew I was because I was like, I talked to my friend for a little too long. I'm sprinting around the corner, right, to get to my class. And who do I run into? The principal. And I like slammed into the principal. Oh. Not like, we like collided to where the point where like we dropped things.
Jordan,
then
are we in a hurry here?
I picked stuff up and then ran to class, made it, right?
Yes.
And then all of a sudden...
As long as you made it.
Yeah, I made it. The bell rang. I was in my seat.
It's like sliding.
Yes. And who comes walking in? The principal. And he goes, hey, Jordan, go get a tardy slip. I was like, because I slid and bumped into him.
Busted.
And I was like, no.
Busted, man.
He goes, no running in the halls, by the way. I was like,
Hey, you guys refresh my memory. Was it the last podcast that I was talking about me with the cartoons?
No.
Or was that something else?
No, that was you and I on air.
That was on the air. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
All right, I was going to share a picture here from school.
Well, you still could.
I can. Okay, yeah. Well, we were talking about...
So Kevin used to fancy himself a cartoon.
Well, I didn't fancy myself anything. I just had this ability. I had a comic strip, and my friend Pat O'Brien also had a comic strip, and we used to draw them, and we had a whole strip that we'd share around the school. I had a guy named Tomac, and he was sort of like half Indian, half, I don't know, whatever, but he had like a big nose and he carried a sword and he didn't wear a shirt, muscular, that whole thing.
He didn't wear a shirt, that's my favorite part.
And then,
like, Pat, a whole backstory. Tomac. He's a barbarian warrior. Tomac.
Yeah,
T-O-M-A-K.
he'll correct you.
And Pat's character was Captain Fool. And he was a superhero. Again, no shirt, but he wore a bucket on his head.
Because that's what every superhero needs. What can I do to make my costume baller? I don't have a shirt on. Right? I got pants.
So
a bucket. I need a bucket on my head. That's what I need.
And each of these characters would end up in the other's comic. So, Tomac would battle Captain Fool. Sometimes they were allies, sometimes not. But anyway, so here, this is the pig. This is it. Pat drew this in my yearbook. As hey, remember, here they are, so this is the
Captain Fool.
Captain Fool and
Tomac and together. I'm telling you, if somebody decides to turn this into like a Marvel or an action hero type series, it could be successful.
Captain Tomac and the Fool. No, sorry.
But if you want to see, because I said to Kevin, I was like, ooh, draw me. So if you ever want to see what that disaster looks like. Oh, yeah. We have it. You can find it on TikTok or
I think
Instagram.
You framed it somewhere around this office.
It's actually...
I've got it here. Here it is. This is it right here. This is Aaron. This is my drawing of Aaron, which was not bad.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, he got the...
I got the bangs,
and the side eye, correct? The judgy side eye.
Judgy side eye.
He nailed that part. Nailed it.
Oh, man. Mm-hmm. Anyway. So, that's our back to school KATcast today. So share your memories of back to school. Tell us what you want. And this is too much fun, you guys, today.
It is.
This is really a lot of fun. And it's Cat Country at mailzimmer.com. Mm-hmm. And that is another edition of the Cat Country KATcast.
You've been listening to the KATcast, your weekly dose of fun from the staff you know and love on 94.3 Cat Country. Click subscribe and never miss an episode. Share it on social media and tell your friends with 94.3 Cat Country.